Hello there, welcome back to Simon's Shed. That's if you've been here before. If you haven't, then welcome, and where have you been? Anyway, well, let's get on with this. I'm going to do a review today. It's a bit of a scenic kit that I've bought, so I'm going to do a review and a demo, and it is the Woodland Scenics River/Waterfall Learning Kit. Product code LK955, and it proudly boasts you can do it. So whether that is make a waterfall or make a mess, we are about to find out. First of all though, let's have a quick look what you get in the box. So we get some paper. That is for, I mean, you can just use newspaper. That's actually for sort of scrunching up and forming your landscape, over which you then put the plaster cloth, and then you decorate it all with this, which is the talus, to sort of model the rocks. So a bag of that, fine green turf, and we get three. Let me just get this out so I can read what we get. You get three. I think they're earth colours. Let me just check. Yeah, it's the liquid pigment earth colours: earth undercoat, burnt umber, and black. And I'll leave that till last. We get some scenic glue to hold everything down, brush and a stirry thing for brushing and stirring, and the main thing, we get some realistic water and a little bit of water effects for doing the sort of fast flowing bits of the waterfalls. Okay, so here's the layout, and you can probably guess where the river and waterfall and little pond/lake is going to be. That suspiciously bare area there. So let's get a little bit closer and I'll show you what I'm going to do. That's better. Right. So step one is working out where you're actually going to put the water feature, as it were, and remove the existing scenery. So that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to use, obviously I've already got this moulded out of plaster cloth with newspaper underneath, but I am going to sort of remould bits of it. So I'm going to have lots of trees here, hiding the sort of source of the stream, just to disguise it a bit, and then it's going to trickle down here and have a little waterfall bit here, and then it's going to flow round into here. So let's remove the scenery, and then we can move to step two. Okay, step two is wadding up small sections of newspaper and forming the contours of the land and holding that in place with tape. So let's have a go at that. So that's very roughly what we're going for in terms of the shape. Okay, step three is to cut the plaster cloth into strips, slide it through some water, which is what that's for, and to place it bumpy side up, and yes, make sure you smooth out. You can see this is a plaster cloth which has it's impregnated with plaster, and you probably can't see it, but that's the bumpy side, and we need to fill in all these holes basically, otherwise obviously the realistic water stuff is just going to seep through. Slide it through the water, and we'll just remodel this bit first, make it look a bit less square. Obviously going to have to grass it all again, but never mind. Okay, so that's the plaster cloth down. Just need to let that dry now, and then we'll get on with step 4. Okay, step 4. Just got these little pots to mix the paint in, because that is the next step. Mix the earth colours, liquid pigments, thus, with 1 tablespoon of water, and apply the colours in the water area, and darker colours simulate deeper areas, lighter colours obviously shallow. Basically, first stage is to just plaster everything with the earth undercoat, and then we can paint the darker colours on top of that. Okay, so I've done a few layers of paint and messed around with it until I'm happy. As you can tell, it took quite a lot of touching and retouching and going over again, but finally got something I'm happy with. So step 5 is to attach the grass, and you mix the scenic glue with water. 1 part glue, 1 part water, and stick the grass on. So let's give that a go. Okay, so now we're just going to sprinkle on the grass. Probably will go over it eventually again with my static grass, but as this is a sort of test of the learning kit, I'm just going to use the stuff that actually comes with the kit, because that's a sort of fairer test of what it looks like. So that's step 5 done. As you can see, it doesn't quite blend in with my grass, but we can sort that out later. So step 6 is the talus, which is this little bumps of rock. So same as the grass really. Right, so I'm finally happy with that. I've touched up the paint a number of times and layered it up and messed about with it and tweaked it until I was happy with it. My next step is not actually in the instructions. I'm going to hoover off the loose, all this loose grass. I don't know why that's not in the instructions, but because it is all, a lot of it is loose and it does need to come off, so I'll just do that quickly. Okay, and now we're ready for step 7 proper, which is the interesting bit. It says mask the edges and pour the realistic water on to the upper and lower levels. Now we have just got the lower level really, so obviously they're saying there may be a pool up here before you get to the waterfall a bit, but I'm just going to hide this with scenery, as I've said. So we're just going to pour it onto the lower level. I'm not going to mask it off because I've actually already got a little drop there which will keep the realistic water from flowing over the whole layout. There's already a little ridge there anyway, so I don't need to mask it. So pour it on carefully, 1/4 inch from the edge, and pull it to the edge with a toothpick, and minimum 24 hours drying time. Here we go. I'm scared to do it now. Are we going to have enough? I hope so. Oh my god, we're running out. Stop panicking. Well, I think we're going to have to stop there in case we need any more, so you can see what's left. And that'll give you a good idea of what area this kit does. So that's good. So now I'm going to try and pull it to the edges, which is quite easy. Right. There we go. So that's going to take 24 hours to dry. However, I think we can do step 8 in the meantime. Step 8. To make Waterfall, apply water effects to a non-stick surface, freezer paper, non-stick pan, etc. using the craft stick. I assume they mean that. Reserve a small amount for step 9, which is sticking the waterfall in place. And step 9 is the last step, so we're nearing the end. So water effect should be the width of the waterfall plus 2 inches in length. Texture waterfall and feather the ends with a toothpick. I mean that plus 2 inches is obviously going to be way too big, so I may ignore that bit and just measure the width carefully. We've got that much water effects, so we're going to have to be careful with it. But I think we can have 2 or 3 goes. It's only that tiny little bit that's going to be the waterfall. So I've got some, you can't see it there. Let me put it there. There we go. Some greaseproof paper, as they suggest, and I'm going to do the waterfall on that. There's nothing else we can do. We need to let everything dry after that. So let's try and make something that looks like a waterfall. Okay, what I've done is ripped up a bit of paper as a template for my waterfall. So I'm going to try and use that as a rough guide to the size. And have a couple of goes at making something that looks like a waterfall. So this stuff's a lot thicker, so it's not going to run away from you. Okay, so that's clearly plenty. Now, Okay. We'll see what they dry like, I guess. I'll see you in 24 hours. Okay, I'll try and whip through this bit because it's turning into a rather long video. Now everything's dry. I've got to be honest, I'm not entirely happy with how this has worked out, and that is due to the colours. Now that it's all dried and it's dried really clear, and the realistic water's worked really well. It sort of reflects the light and it looks like water, but my painting underneath, you can really see the differences in the colours. If I was doing it again, which I probably will do, I would just go for all one colour. If you are going to vary the colour, you need to blend it in really well, I think, to make it look anything like realistic, which is why I've painted or repainted that more of a sort of greeny brown colour and all one colour. So we'll see how that works out. I think I'm going to just paint over the top of this and just get some more realistic water and pour that on. So yeah, I mean it's a first attempt, so I'm not unhappy with it, but I do think if I did it again it could be better, and I guess it's a river waterfall learning kit, so I have learnt that. Okay, let's take a look at the waterfall bits that I did. As a backup plan, I did some on a non-stick frying pan as well, and I would recommend the non-stick frying pan over the greaseproof paper. These are the ones that have come out of the frying pan, and they're just a lot easier to get off the frying pan rather than the newspaper. So that one looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do, I found with the ones on the paper, it's not quite as clear. It seems to peel some of the backing off the paper, so it's a bit cloudy, which you could use to your advantage if you want that sort of more misty effect, but I don't think it looks great. I think I prefer the clear ones for this waterfall. So let's have a look. Yeah, that was going to be a little pool of ripples, but again that hasn't turned out brilliantly, so we'll leave that for now. That one looks okay. So what I'm going to do is just get the final one off. Is choose the best 2 or 3 and probably just layer them up there, and then I'm going to pour the final realistic water, and it's going to run down and sort of merge in with the waterfall, so we get all the water down there, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And so, several days later, here we are. It's all dried out. So we'll do a quick conclusion and let you have a close look at it. Overall, I think it's a good kit, and I think you can see my first attempt has turned out reasonably well. I could certainly do better if and when I do it again. I believe it was about £12 for the kit, so if you've got a huge area to do, it's probably best to just, and especially if you've got other scenic stuff, like you've got already got stuff that you want to use for the grass and the rocks and whatever else, and different background paints, then it's probably best just to get a bottle of the realistic water and a bottle of the water effects if you are going to do any sort of fast flowing water. But if you're just in a small area, then I think it is a great way to do it, to get the kit. So you can see what I was complaining about the sort of different colours. It's sort of growing on me, to be honest. It's not as bad as I first thought, and it does seem to depend which way the light's sort of reflecting on it, but I still think I'm going to go over it again with one single colour. But let's have a closer look. So you can see the water effects there on the waterfall. I think that works pretty well. And the sort of water effects I put at the bottom there to glue it down is sort of acting like little splashes, splashing up. And yeah, if you look at it sort of from this angle, I think it looks really good. So I think we'll call that a success, and yeah, I would recommend that River and Waterfall Learning Kit. So thank you very much for watching. I will see you again soon.